All right, the 2-1 buy down. I'm hearing about this all over social media like it's the holy grail. So let's unpack it, because the reality is if one loan package was good for everybody, there'd only be one loan package. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to use this as examples here, the numbers that I give. I've spoken with several lenders. I am not a lender, but these are just examples. All right, let's say a buyer wants to buy a $500,000 house, and let's just say, for example, 7% interest. The 2-1 buy down, the way that that works is, let's just say, as an example, first year would be 5%, let's just say. Second year, 6%. Third year, it would go to 7%. Well, that 5% and 6%, it doesn't go away, the difference between that and 7%. The bank calculates that out, and whatever that number ends up being, let's just say it's $10,000 in payments, that is then added on to the purchase price in the form of what's called a seller's concession. Now, concession, the word can be a little misleading, because concession kind of sounds like the seller's giving it back to the buyer, but that's really not what's happening, because basically it's being added on top of the purchase price. So the buyer is still paying that difference between 5 and 7% first year, between 6 and 7% second year. The buyer's still paying that. They're just paying it in a different way. They're paying it out of these funds that were actually put aside by the house being sold at a higher price than what it was really purchased for in an escrow account, and then paid each month toward those payments during the first 2 years. So the buyer is still, again, paying that same amount. They're just paying it over time. It doesn't work for everybody. For some buyers, I guess it makes sense because it gives them a little more liquidity up front. But a couple of caveats with this. The appraisal, if the house does not appraise, the buyer cannot make up the gap in a buy down. The seller either has to make up the appraisal gap, or the buyer has to choose either a different package, or let's say instead of doing a 2-1, they do a 1-year buy down. But something has to change there, and it does have to be handled as a seller's concession, because there is a 3% cap on fees to buyers that would be exceeded if the buy down was also added into their mortgage processing. All right, so that's the deal with the 2-1 buy down. DM me if you have any other questions. Bye.